Okay guys, so for those of you who missed my lesson today, or you made this my lesson but you wanted to come back and remember kind of what I talked about. So these are for the iReady lessons that have to do with writing expressions and interpreting and evaluating expressions. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of have a word problem. We're gonna walk through, how would we solve it? How would we write it as an expression, and then evaluate or solve the expression. Okay, so first I have Miss Quiring bought 4 packs of toilet paper during quarantine. Miss Morrison bought 5 packs. If there were 12 rolls in each pack, how many total rolls did they buy? Okay, so obviously what's important is that, I bought 4 packs of toilet paper, Miss Morrison bought 5, and then 12 rolls in each pack. And then we're trying to find the total amount of rolls, okay? So the first thing that we can do is that we can add together, add Miss Q's packs and Miss Morrison's packs. And then because there is 12 in each pack, we can then multiply by 12. Okay, so that's how in words we would describe how we are going to solve this problem. Okay, then what my next step is going to be to write it as an expression. An expression means that we don't have an equal sign. So the first thing we do is add our packs together. We have 4 plus 5, and then multiply by 12. Now in order of operations, when we want to make sure that we do something first, which we need to add those first, we need to put parentheses around so that that is what's going to be solved first in our problem. So here's the expression. We add our 4 and 5 packs together, and then we multiply by 12 because there's 12 in each pack. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to evaluate or solve our expression. So now whenever we're solving an expression, we have to solve it using order of operations, okay? So we have parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. We're really gonna focus on those parentheses, okay? So we do the parentheses first, 4 plus 5, which is 9, and then we have to multiply by 12, okay? We can multiply in our head, or we can do the standard algorithm and multiply, but we end up getting 108 rolls of toilet paper. Okay, so when we do that, this is kind of the steps that we take to solve the problem, okay, and by creating an expression. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do one more. I'm not going to write out the whole thing. But what I am going to do is I'm going to list out the important parts, okay? So what I'm going to do is read you the problem. So Miss Quiring was going through some books at my parents' house, okay? I had a total of 37 books. I kept 5 of them to read. And then I split the rest into 4 boxes. Okay? So the first thing we would have to think of is, okay, if I were going to solve this problem, what would I do first? Okay? And for what I would do first is I'm going to take my 37 books and I'm going to subtract 5 of them because I'm keeping them out of the books, okay? So I'm reading those first. So I'm going to first subtract 5 from the 37. Then once I get my answer, I split the rest of those into 4 boxes. So then I'm going to divide, because split tells me to divide, I'm going to divide by 4. Okay, and I forgot to add, the question is how many are in each box. Okay, So I said in words how I would solve it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the equation, or the expression I mean. So first thing is I subtract 5 from 37, so 37 minus 5. And then I divide by 4. Because I want to do this first, I want to make sure this is first, I'm going to put parentheses around it. Okay, then my last step is going to be to solve. Okay, so the first thing I have to solve is what's inside the parentheses. 37 minus 5, which is 32. Then I divide by 4. 32 divided by 4 is 8. So each box would have 8 books. Okay. So that's a way that we can take a word problem and we can turn it into an expression and then end up evaluating it to get our answer. Okay. Okay. Now we may have something where we end up having 2 parentheses in our problem, such as 300 minus 100 plus 6 times 4. When things are in parentheses, it means we have to do them first, okay? But if we end up having 2 parentheses, we're gonna start from the left side and just work our way over. So I'm first gonna do this parenthesis, 300 minus 100 is 200, and then 6 times 4, which is 24, and then I'm going to add them together to get 224, okay? So if I have 2 parentheses, it doesn't matter, like I do this one first and then this one, okay? And then I do what is ever in between them. Okay. When we're comparing expressions, we don't have to necessarily solve them. So if I have something that is 5 times 85 minus 7, and then 85 minus 7, and we're comparing them, we see these two are the same. These parts of the expression are the same. The only thing that's different is this 5 times the amount. Now we're getting bigger. Multiplication means we're multiplying it, we're getting bigger, so this is going to be the greater expression. So this expression is 5 times greater than this expression, okay? But let's say that we now are going to start ranking some of these from least to greatest. So let's erase this, okay? I'm going to add in okay, so now we have 3 expressions. 85 minus 7, 5 times 85 minus 7, and 85 minus 7 divided by 2. Okay? So we can see these are all the same. The only thing that's different is the outside portions for those 2. Okay, so let's rank this from least to greatest. Okay? So the smallest number is going to be what operation are we going to use to get an even smaller number, okay? So here's our original, okay, 85 minus 7. Now we have to look at these 2, okay? We already discussed before that 5 times 85 minus 7 is going to be bigger than this, okay? So now we have to look at 85 minus 7 divided by 2. Whenever we're dividing something, we're splitting something up into equal groups, so that means that we're making something smaller. Okay, so this expression, 85 minus 7 divided by 2, is going to make it smaller than our original one. Okay, so this is going to be the least. Then we know that this one was the greatest because it's greater than our original, so then our original is right in the middle. Okay, so this is how we would rank it from least to greatest. So when we are multiplying, we're getting greater. When we're dividing, we're getting smaller, okay? Now, let's say that we have a question that looks something like this. So we have 3/2 plus 20/8 plus 2/10, and we're comparing it between 20/8 plus 2/10 minus 1/5. Now, before you kind of get into thinking, oh, we have different denominators, we have improper fractions, don't stress yourself out because all it wants us to do is compare. So what I want you to do first is just look at the numbers that you're given. Do you notice anything? Is anything the same? Is anything different? So right off the bat, what I notice is when I look at what's in my parentheses, they are the same. 20/8 plus 2/10, 20/8 plus 2/10, those are the same value. So what we have to do is we have to look at what is happening on the outside of that part of the expression. So if this is the same, and we're adding in 3/2, okay, that is going to give us a greater value. If I have this expression and I'm taking away 1/5, that's going to give me a smaller value. So what would we compare it? This is getting bigger because we're adding to it, and now we're taking away on this side. So this is going to be the greater expression because we're adding 3/2, and in this one we're taking away. Okay? So those were some of the things that we talked about today in the lesson. At the end of the lesson, we talked about dividing a decimal by a whole number and decimal by decimal. If you need help with that I have a video up on my YouTube already. So hopefully this helped you. This can help you kind of navigate through those iReady lessons and to remember about order of operations and expressions. If you have any questions, please contact me, through Class Dojo in office hours on Friday, on Google Classroom, or email me, and hopefully I can help. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will hopefully see you on Monday.